When we talk about dark, gritty stories in video games as a whole, one that comes to the top of my list is Max Payne. This is a title, a franchise, guys, that, when it started, what a dark, gritty story. But it was one of my favorites when it released on the original Xbox. I grabbed a copy, and it was one of the first games I ever played on Xbox. And I fell in love with this story, characters, everything about it was just. It was very dark, very gritty, but the action, bullet time, there were just so many things that made me absolutely love this title. Second game comes out. I didn't like it quite as much as the first one, but it was still that same kind of like that dark, that gritty feel, and it never stopped, even in Max Payne 3. And so ever since then, guys, I've always, after each title that's come out, I've always looked forward to what could come next in this franchise. One of my favorites out there. And, I want to talk about, will there be Max Payne 4? Because we've talked about Max Payne and we've talked about the future of this franchise. You guys can check out all of that content here on the YouTube channel. Max Payne 4 is a title that I've stated needs to happen. I believe that this is one that needs to coexist with other games out there, other shooters out there. And I think that it's definitely within, the interest of Rockstar to continue Max Payne. Now, sure, look, when we look at, what Rockstar has done, I mean, they own the IP, obviously, at this point in time, and they... Max Payne 3 I thought was good. I didn't think it was as good as the first one. I think the first one, obviously, for me, guys, it's going to be hard to top that one. But now that Rockstar kind of has their footing in this franchise, I think they can make something really special with Max Payne 4. Also knowing what we know with Red Dead Redemption 2, what we know with GTA, we know that both of those have created full packages for Rockstar has for those titles, that being co-op modes, multiplayer modes, and obviously a full-blown campaign. What I think would be really cool with Max Payne is taking this similar approach. Sure, Max Payne 3 had multiplayer. It pretty much had a full package to it, but I think making it open world, semi-open world, similar to Grand Theft Auto, similar to Red Dead, could really kind of freshen it up somewhat. Then on top of that, you create a Max Payne Online, similar to Red Dead Online, similar to GTA Online. Something along those lines could very much so, I think, really help expand upon, the lore, the story, the universe that they're trying to build here with Max Payne. Now, there's been a ton of rumblings, tons of talks as to what the next project is by Rockstar. And so, if we're being honest, guys, it sounded like Bully 2 was going to be the next game coming out. And then that, of course, got canceled more recently than not. And, so that leaves us with, well, what are they working on now? Many were saying that it's a new Grand Theft Auto, which I do agree. I believe that GTA is the next title up and coming. It makes sense, for Rockstar to be working on mainly their two biggest IPs are Red Dead and GTA. And I think Max Payne could certainly be up there if they make another game. But I do think that GTA 6 is probably what's coming. But it might be a number of years until we see that. So what else are they working on? Are they working on an LA Noire 2? Are they working on a new Manhunt? Are they, there's a bunch of titles and IPs that they could be working on. So do I think Max Payne 4 is in the cards for them? Absolutely, guys. With Bully 2 getting canceled, that leaves us with, they could be working on other new IPs. That certainly could be happening. But if they're not and they're working on IPs that they currently own, Max Payne makes more sense to me than LA Noire, making a second LA Noire. Bully had a very big fan base, and I think that would have done well had they made a second. It doesn't really matter what game it is that Rockstar comes out with, because it's probably going to do well because it's Rockstar, and people just love playing those games. What makes the most sense is for them to go back and forth between Red Dead and GTA, but I think adding Max Payne into that mix, having a Max Payne Online, it would be easily integrated. They could do so much more with Max Payne than they could with like Bully, or they could with probably LA Noire. Bully, you could probably do, a good amount of different things. I just think it would be kind of difficult with LA Noire to, to add like a full package there. But, I mean, obviously, I think it's important that, any AAA title that comes out needs to have a full package for it to really start building a community and fan base. So, I mean, you can never say never, but I think Max Payne makes most sense right now for Rockstar. create a Max Payne 4, make it a full package, create Max Payne Online so that people are able to go to it over and over again. I really think that this is an IP that needs to continue, guys. I really do. Now, where's the story going? All of those things. That's something that, we're going to have to kind of wait and see. I think there's a number of directions you could go in. One of those would be, I always bring up Gears of War, guys, because what Gears of War did so well was you had a few games, that being 3 games, that were with the main character, Marcus Phoenix. That was the guy that you would play as. And then after those first 3 games, they kind of mixed it up, that being Epic Games. And then, of course, Epic Games, the IP went to the Coalition over at Microsoft. So they switched the characters up. So then you played the son of Marcus Phoenix in Gears of War 4. And then in Gears 5, it went from the son JD Phoenix to Kate D as a new character in the universe. And so what they did was they've moved on from the main characters and kind of have evolved them. I think Max Payne's the same thing. You don't necessarily have to play as Max Payne. You could play as a young Max Payne, or you could play as Max Payne, Payne's son, or whatever it might be. I think there are a number of different ways that you could go about in this upcoming title with Max Payne 4. I know people have talked about how Max Payne's getting older, and I agree. I think that what needs to happen is that the torch needs to be passed from one character to the next. Max Payne needs to pass that torch after Max Payne 4 to another character, a new character, up-and-coming character that we can kind of, play as, and that kind of will lead us into the next generation of the Max Payne titles. I think that's really important, guys. I really do. I think Max Payne, there is still absolutely something there. There is a big following around Max Payne. I think it could be something really special if Rockstar decides to do it. But the question is, guys, is what do you think? Do you think that there will be a Max Payne 4? Do you think Rockstar will greenlight that project if they haven't already? Or do you think they're just going to be, kind of creating new IPs, working on GTA, Red Dead? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section down below. And for more Max Payne 4 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV.